It's a rare species that are rare in Yasuni. It's common.
Well, yes, it's common because most of the species are rare.
Yeah. You have a lot of different species in Yasuni.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the maximum that you can find in a small area, maybe in the world. Because, I mean, when, for instance, in Yasuni, if I take any 1 hectare, in my study I have a 50-hectare plot, which is a huge thing. So it's like 60 soccer fields. So there we are studying, like, if you put a magnifier and see what's happening inside. And so you see there are lots of species. If I do a random selection of 1 hectare, I have in average 670 species of trees more than 1 centimeter, which includes also shrubs and trees, more than 1 centimeter, which is, I don't know, it's about the same that you have in all the entire North America. So that's why the scientists are so amazed about this. What's happening? What's controlling this? I mean, that's a question that is applicable to all the tropical forests. But Yasuni has this particular aspect is a peak in Yasuni. So you have a concentration of species which is huge. So the interactions are countless.
Okay. And you have also, there is lianas that are, or even specific trees, such as a strangler fig, which are growing from the top and growing to the bottom.
Absolutely, yes.
Could you give us other examples of plants that do it the opposite way of the way you usually see things, meaning that a tree is growing from the ground and going up?
Well, lianas do that. Lianas start on the ground.
No, but do you have other examples than the strangler fig, who begin in the heights and going down?
You mean same life form but other groups?
Yeah.
So there is, that I know, there is a genus called Clusia. So the Clusia genus is another hemiepiphyte, as they are called. So hemiepiphytes are in Clusias. Clusia is an interesting genus. You can see that in the forests as well. I don't think we have so many of them, but we do have some in Yasuni.
Hemiepiphytes are becoming big enough to become a tree?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Ficus is a hemiepiphyte.
Okay.
So it's the thing is that the concept is they germinate, in the upper part of the tree, and they go down with the roots. You see, so that happened in ficus, and then they produce a trunk basically.
Yeah.
But it doesn't do this, but they take the position of the tree, and they take the light of that tree, and they kill that way the original tree.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. So it's not exactly a strangler in that sense that people think.
Okay.
But they take the light, basically, of the host tree.
Okay. And there is no real seasons in Yasuni, but in the same time, do the trees still have yet a kind of phenology, meaning that there is time to reproduce, time to...
If you look at the community level, you see that in Yasuni you can have different species flowering and fruiting all the time. But then you can also see that there are a couple of peaks also in different parts of the year. 2 peaks basically. I don't remember.
Rainy season,
Well, the rainy season is relative because we do have less rainy season that is around January, February, I would say. It's one. And then you have August tend to have, less rains. It changes sometimes, But then you have other that have a lot of rain, like May and June, for instance. We don't have really good data of the climate in Yasuni, unfortunately. That is more or less a general pattern that you have seen of the data we have. It's not easy because in Yasuni, I thought that we just have to put a data logger and then go every 3 or 6 months and take down the data and we have. Doesn't work that way. You have to really take care of the equipment and check for the electric connections, you know, because the insects eat the wires and there are problems, I don't know, with the batteries and I don't know why, because in other places I've seen that they use these data loggers and they work perfectly. We have 2 different equipments and still we have always problems with that. So we don't have good data, but looking at the general pattern in the Amazon region, it's more or less that occurs something like this, you know, like less rains, but you don't have, technically you don't have dry months.
But sorry, I interrupted you when you were saying that there was 2 little peaks in terms of energy of the plants.
Mm-hmm.
And sorry, I interrupted you.
Yes, no problem. Yeah, these peaks, I mean, is this situation is not understandable in a way because we are in a forest that don't have seasonality. So we don't have seasonality. In a seasonal forest, you would expect that it's like the phenology is more defined, you know, but still we have peaks. And still we have species that tend to flower in certain periods. So why? We don't really know yet. There are some, maybe some cues that are, you know, driving this situation. We are trying to understand that, but we don't really know. We are following this since year 2000. And I have a group of colleagues working with this. We are trying to understand what happened and what will happen in the future with the climatic change and the expected changes that will be happening in the Amazon. For instance, these droughts that are happening, you know, more frequently. How those droughts will affect the phenology of the trees, for instance. So we are interested in that kind of question. We have data, historic data, you know, every 2 weeks we are going through 200 traps in the 50-hectare plot and looking what have been collected in those traps. And we have experts, field experts that can identify those seeds, also flowers, flower seeds and parts of fruits. So we are in the sense